Rita Tinina joining us, and she has been following what's been happening with this grand meeting that will not happen today. So Rita, what are the reasons that IEBC is giving for the reason of rescheduling this particular meeting?
Well, Betty, the IEBC has not quite given a reason. It was a very brief communication to the media, just indicating that a meeting, the date of a meeting will be communicated later once the presidential candidates agree on a date. But remember, Betty, this is one meeting that was quite anticipated, and some analysts were saying perhaps this is where the solution to the current situation will come from. But as of yesterday, President Uhuru Kenyatta had indicated that he would not be attending that meeting. He said he was going to be meeting voters instead of sitting down for a meeting with Raila Odinga. Earlier this month, the IEBC met the presidential candidates, but separately. First met with NASA flag bearer Raila Odinga. During that meeting, NASA still insisted that they had not come to any agreement to the IEBC, and so the meeting was not fruitful. Later that afternoon, then IEBC met with Deputy President William Ruto. When he came out of the meeting, he said the meeting was very successful, and in fact said they were done with the IEBC. In the press conference, he said, let's meet after the 26th of October. And he said that he hopefully will be meeting here. That was at the Bomas of Kenya, saying hopefully we'll be meeting here when the results are being announced. To Betty, quite perhaps an unfortunate development. Yesterday, IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati, during that press conference, when he was issuing a stern warning to the politicians, he said he was not able to guarantee a free, fair and credible election, and pointed out several things standing in his way. He says there were divisions in the commission, and there's also political interference. And according to him, the way out would be political dialogue. He says that is one of the things that can help the country at this moment. He also wants the commission to be left to do its work independently, and also wants those commission officials who have been adversely mentioned in one way or another to step aside. So, Betty, the hope that the country had today that a meeting would be happening, and that perhaps it would provide a way forward, that will not be happening for now, Betty.
All right, Rita, previously, what has been the agenda? Because also the agenda of this meeting really is in question. Even the discussion I'm having here in studio, that is still unknown. What would be the agenda of even this meeting if it didn't happen today? Now we're talking about 5 days, even if it was happened tomorrow. What changes really, or what fruits would this particular meeting actually, with just a few days to this October 26th date?
From the tone of Chebukati yesterday, this would have been a meeting perhaps to try and reach some consensus between the presidential candidates. The previous meeting, that meeting that was held earlier this month, the IEBC used the opportunity to brief the candidates on its preparedness for the elections. William Ruto, during that meeting, when he came out, said they were satisfied with the IEBC's preparedness, but earlier NASA had indicated that they felt that the IEBC is not prepared in any way to conduct an election. And they also said of all their demands, the demands that they had put across to the IEBC, none of them had been met. So that earlier meeting was perhaps sort of to hear from the presidential candidates what concerns they have, as well as for the commission to brief them on its preparedness. Today's meeting perhaps would have been sort of different, not really to brief the candidates on the commission's preparedness, but to listen to their concerns. But Betty, remember, during that meeting earlier on this month, the commission had indicated that it was not an arbitrator, and so would not, when questions were asked why the commission was not holding a joint meeting with NASA and Jubilee leaders, it said it was not an arbitrator, and so was not seeking to bring both sides to the table. But this would have been the situation this afternoon if that meeting would have taken place. Betty.
All right, Rita Tinina there, reporting from our City Center studio, talking to us about IEBC choosing to reschedule that meeting that was supposed to be happening today between them and the presidential candidates. We are yet to know which date this meeting has been moved to. So we'll